everybody, welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. My name is Simon, and today I'm gonna see how I can combine my building aesthetic with the cottage style. So I'm gonna build my version of a cottage. Well, I'm a little late to the party with the cottage living expansion pack. I did use the pawn tool in my previous speed build video, but I didn't have the pack back then yet. So now this is the first time that I'm, trying out what I can do with this pack and still staying true to what I like, because to be honest, it is really not part of my aesthetic. It's way too whimsy and romantic, the cottage core kind of aesthetic. I prefer modern architecture, and at times I kind of go different paths, but I always try to approach a different design aesthetic from a modern angle. And with a cottage design, I found it quite difficult to do that, but what I in the end came up with is to industrialize the cottage core aesthetic, and that's what I wanted to do. So I brought in elements from industrial design, or like industrial interior design and architecture, and make it a little bit more rustic and a little bit more rough and less whimsy and less romantic, and that's what you see here. So I decided to basically build an annex next to the cottage that is sort of a conservatory, and it kind of has this loft feel to it because I used the Moschino loft apartment windows, and I think it kind of modernized the entire thing and gave it that modern twist that I wanted to. And I also decided to use different windows and not go for the ones that the expansion pack provided. And you see here that I'm using I'm actually building my own window, so I'm like enlarging this arched window that came with Get to Work. And I saw this on Instagram done by my pal Captain Nim, and they did that for like a little modern starter home, I believe it was, or I don't even remember, but it was like a Oasis Springs build. And I found that super cool. I think we've all seen this technique done before by like bigger YouTube builders like Serena Sims, but I've never seen it done with this particular window before. And I really love that window. It is so sad that it is like the only one of its kind that came with the Get to Work expansion pack. It is like such a versatile aesthetic. Oh my god, how often will I say the word aesthetic in this video? But whatever. So it is like one of its kind. There's no other object in the same style as this window, and I find it really sad because you could use it for so many things. It could be used in like very modern ones, or like these kind of this not fully modern ones, like those that are really like on the edge of being a little bit more organic, but having a modern twist. But sadly, we do not have like a bigger version of it. We do not have a door that looks like it. It's just like this standalone item, and that's, I think, well, it's really it really bums me out. It bummed me out for this build in particular, because I could have used different versions of this kind of window throughout, but I wasn't able to. And so I found this way to enlarge it and even make this like multi-story version of it on the front of the building, which I in the end really like, but it's a lot of work and I wish it would be easier. Anyway, but I'm really thankful for Captain Nim to kind of present me this this version of the window. Like I didn't even think of enlarging it myself. I was always like really bummed that it was there was nothing else like it. Yeah, but enough of this window. You see that I used a lot here, and and but I still incorporated a lot of design elements that you would see in the cottage core aesthetic. There it is again. But it is still having that modern edge that I was looking for. You might notice though that I'm using a lot of items that came with get together, or maybe pets. Oh no, what is it? Cats and dogs. I always get that twisted. But because I'm not really satisfied with all of the stuff that we got with the Cottage Living expansion pack. I mean, it is fine, but I don't know. It is not really for me. And I don't want to, ruin the fun for anyone else that really enjoys this kind of style and enjoys the items. But it is not really for me. It really doesn't fit my style and what I like. So I rather went with the get-together items and the cats and dogs items, which I do enjoy a lot more. So there are a couple of items from the pack that I really like the Smeg fridge. That's really pretty. You will see me use that later, as well as the 3-seat leather sofa. It looks really industrial, which is what I like. Probably that's why I like it. And because it's not really whimsy and romantic, but a little more rough and a little more raw. But in general, I could do without the most of the items. Like the kitchen counters I really don't like, and I don't know, a lot of the decorative items, the carpets, I don't really care for, and a lot of other things. But what a kind of technical issue for me was that for some reason the debug and live edit items from Cottage Living didn't show up in my game. I tried to reinstall, so I'm using Twisted Maxi's organized debug, or it's called, I think it's called Better Build By, and it organizes the debug and live edit catalog. And for some reason it doesn't show the Cottage Living items, and it did for like one time. I remember seeing them in my game at some point, but I didn't for this build, so I had to do without them. And I remember there were a lot of nice bushes and shrubs and flowers that I couldn't use. So for that part, I think I really do enjoy the Cottage Living expansion pack, but I couldn't use them here, which is again a little bit sad. And I remember that there are like fairy lights in the debug as a debug item that are kind of like spanning from trees. I'm not entirely sure right now, but because I couldn't use it, but I really wanted to use something like that in the conservatory, I replicated that with the fairy lights that came with, oh god, it's some stuff pack. It's either kids stuff or toddler stuff. I think it's toddler stuff. It's very random that it came with that one, but I think it came with toddler stuff. So these fairy lights, again, a very versatile item. I would recommend getting that pack only for these fairy lights, because they are really cool and you could use them in a lot of settings. Yeah, I had to use them here because the live edit objects didn't show in my game. I hope I get that fixed at some point. I don't know, I might, it might be conflicting with some other mods that I'm using or some CC in general, but I have to figure that out, or maybe I just reinstall it over and over again, the Better Built By mod, and see if it works at some point. I hope it does, because I think there are a couple of really nice items in the debug catalog from Cottage Living. And I remember shrubs and the plants in general to look very detailed and look very high quality, which is, oh my god, did you hear Gizzy? Oh, you need attention. Oh. So sorry, I don't know what he wants. He ate and I think he's just bothered that I'm not paying him any attention. Anyway, where was I? The debug items, yeah. Oh, the shrubs, they are very detailed and I enjoy that, and that's really something that that's improved over the years. Like if you look at the debug items from like Get to Work or maybe even Get Together, they are of much lesser quality than of the most recent packs. So that's really like a plus. Like the graphics are improving in every aspect, which is what I really appreciate about these new packs. That it's not only the regular items in the catalog, but also the debug items. So everything is improving in quality, and that's what I really appreciate and like. And yeah, that's just an observation I made. There's no but here. It is, however, glaring how different the items of like base game items and like more recent items look in terms of quality. And yeah, sometimes I just resist using a lot of base game items because they look so bad in quality. Yeah, we were still playing a 7-year-old game. That is pretty insane. But it still is decent, and they always find a way to make it interesting again. And while I'm kind of yearning for like better graphics in general, which would hopefully come with a Sims 5 game, excuse me. I'm really not looking forward to it in the sense of what we're going to lose when this comes out. Like they will take away a lot of things again that we have gotten over the years. Like they might, for all we know, they might take away pools again, and it's they could do that. They probably will do that, and we still would buy the game. But well, that's what we signed up for, right? We still love this game. We still play it, and it is still, after 7 years, it's still fun to open up the game and try out the new stuff and what they're giving us. And yeah, I think The Sims 5 will be no different. Yeah, even if they take away all that stuff again. Can you imagine that platforms? We don't even have that for 1 year. That is insane. Like, okay, for this build I didn't use platforms, but this might be the only one. Like I use platforms for everything I build in the game, and we only got that for the last expansion pack, which was Snowy Escape. That is wild, right? That's wild. It feels like we have that forever. We don't. They always lure us in with a new item, and it just grabs us, and we're like, yeah, this is it, and it's good. And it is good. It is great. But why didn't we get that from the beginning? And why will you probably take that away from us again when The Sims 5 comes around? Yeah, I'm really, in that regard, I'm really not looking forward to The Sims 5, but I am yearning for better graphics in general. Like have like better lighting, better, yeah, a bit cleaner look, and yeah, but it will have a downside. It will have a giant downside, and if it is an online game or like a multiplayer game, then it will be even worse. An online game might even like push away the building community, like the Sims 4 building community, who are probably the only ones that are very much satisfied with the game in general, except for the graphics. But they have the least to complain about. But if they shift their focus and I mean, they can. I mean, game players are the ones that are being neglected over the years, and so yeah, of course they should finally be recognized too and get everything they ask for. And I hope the Sims 5 does that. But I'm just concerned that by doing that, you know, all the builders might go to Paralives, which looks very promising. Like everything they show on their social media is like really impressive. Like the most recent you know, building video, like where they built the house, and they just show so many interesting aspects that I was wishing to have in The Sims for many years. Customizable anything, and large windows and large objects seamlessly. So that's really such a cool feature, and I can't wait to get my hands on that game. Like I would play the beta. I would just love that so much. I would love to test it out and you know, see what we could actually do with that game, like with all the new features that they introduced, that The Sims should have introduced, well, quite some time ago, and now they fill that void. And yeah, I hope it doesn't disappoint, that we get a decent alternative to The Sims that is a worthy competitor and kind of ends the monopoly status that The Sims has in the life simulation game world. Yeah, I didn't talk like anything about this build, right? I was just really driven away, but honestly, I mean, you just see everything that I've said before. Like I used a lot of cats and dogs stuff, and I used a lot of get together stuff, and just occasionally I actually used the cottage living items, but there are a couple of cute ones, so I give it that. But it is not, I think in general the pack is not made for builders, it is for gameplay, and that is good. But with that being said, I try to incorporate some of the gameplay elements in this build, and I did include a chicken coop and a cross stitch basket. Well, cross stitching somewhere in the house, but I couldn't fit anything else from the gameplay on this lot. It is a very tiny lot. I think it is actually like a town lot, like I'm in the like plaza area of the city here, and it is a very tiny lot, and my overall design didn't allow like a cow shed and all these barn type of buildings, but I still think it is a good building to you know, live out the cottage core fantasy with a modern twist. And I pictured that, you know, a small family would live here, like parents and a child. Like there's a kid's room that is, I think, more suited for a teenager probably, but do with it whatever you like. Everything is functional. You know, it might look a little bit narrow, and you might think that some of the objects might obstruct each other, but they don't. It is actually everything is usable. I play tested it myself, and yeah, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. You can find the lot on the gallery. My ID there is Taffissimo, just as the name of this channel. I'm finishing up this build now. This is the last room I'm decorating, and then I'm only adding the roof to the, you know, tower-like structure you saw in the beginning. So I'm just gonna close this off now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the build. Please tell me in the comments below. Please follow me, subscribe to my channel, and like the video. This all helps me to continue doing this. Be sure to follow me on Instagram as well. My name there is Taffissimo_built. This is where I post most of my content, so don't miss out on that. Stay tuned for the house tour and some pretty cool cinematic shots. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.